The station's night cycle was almost over. In a few hours, the lights would brighten to simulate morning. Workers would wake up and start their shifts. The noodle stand next to Marcus's shop would open, filling the air with strange but pleasant smells. But for now, everything was quiet. Kira still slept on the pile of rags, her breathing slow and peaceful. And Marcus was still working. His back hurt. His eyes burned from staring at tiny parts for so long. His coffee had gone cold many hours ago, forgotten on a shelf. He had missed his scheduled job with the mining company. That job would have paid his rent for the next month. Now he would have to find another way. None of that mattered right now. Marcus held up the android's arm. It was fixed. More than fixed. He had reinforced the joints so they would be stronger than before. He had replaced the damaged wiring with better materials. The arm would work perfectly for years and years. He attached the arm to the body and heard a satisfying click. One more step done. Many more to go. In the observation room above, Empress Solara had not moved from her position. She had been watching for hours. Her advisors had come and gone, bringing reports and requests that she ignored. Only Korvax remained, standing silently beside her. "Tell me about humans," Solara said suddenly. Korvax thought for a moment. "They are a young species. They discovered space travel only 300 years ago. Their home planet is called Earth. Small world, mostly water. They have spread to many systems, but they control no great empire. They have no special abilities that we know of. They are not stronger or smarter than other species. They live short lives, less than 100 years for most of them, and yet they survive. Yes, your radiance. Against all logic, they survive." Solara watched as Marcus began working on the android's chest. The Vraxians should have destroyed them during the border war. Humanity's ships were slower, their weapons weaker, their numbers smaller. Every military analyst predicted total defeat. What happened? They won, Korvax said simply. No one knows how. Their tactics made no sense. They took risks that should have killed them. They protected ships that were not worth protecting. They went back for wounded soldiers when retreat was the only logical choice. They should have lost at every turn. But they kept fighting, and somehow they won. The hegemony tried to enslave them next. Yes, that also failed. The humans refused to accept slavery. They fought even when fighting was hopeless. They died rather than submit. Eventually, the hegemony decided they were more trouble than they were worth. Solara nodded slowly. "I have been studying humans for decades, Korvax. Since they first appeared on the galactic stage and demanded a seat at the Concord. Every other species thought they were joking. A species that young, that weak, that unimportant, asking to be treated as equals. It was absurd. But you supported their request. I was curious." Solara smiled at the memory. "I wanted to see what they would do. And they have never stopped surprising me." On the screen, Marcus had opened the android's chest plate. Inside was a mess of burned circuits and broken connections. It would take most people hours just to figure out what went wrong. Marcus studied it for less than a minute, then nodded to himself and started working. "He sees the problem," Solara said. "Watch his face. He's not worried or confused. He looks at that destroyed system and he knows exactly what to do. He is skilled," Korvax admitted. "He is more than skilled. Look at his hands. See how gentle they are. He touches every part like it matters. Like it deserves respect." Solara leaned closer to the screen. "Our engineers are technical experts. They can build machines that humans cannot even imagine. But they do not love their work. They do it because they are paid, because it is their duty, because it brings them status. This human does it because he cannot stop himself. He sees something broken, and his soul will not let him walk away." Marcus was humming now, a soft tune, something old and simple. He probably did not even realize he was doing it. "That song," Solara said. "Find out what it is." Korvax worked on his datapad for a moment. It appears to be a traditional Earth melody. Origin unknown. The words speak about a mother comforting a child, about safety and warmth and love that never ends. He is singing a lullaby while he works. "Yes, Your Radiance." Solara was quiet for a long time. When she spoke again, her voice was strange, heavy with emotion that she rarely showed. "My daughter has everything. The best teachers, the finest technology, guards who would die for her without question. She has never known hunger or cold or fear. She has never wanted for anything in her life." Solara touched the screen where Kira slept. "But when her android broke, she did not come to me. She did not ask her guards for help. She walked alone into the darkest part of this station and found a stranger, because she knew, somehow, that a stranger would care more than all the power of the Empire." "Your Radiance, I do not think that is what she meant. Perhaps not, but it is what she found." Solara straightened. "I have made a decision, Korvax. When this is over, I want no record that I was here. No one is to know that I watched this. The human must never learn that his actions were observed. May I ask why? Because if he knew, it would change everything. He would wonder if he did the right thing for the right reasons. He would question himself, and I do not want that." Solara turned away from the screen at last. "I want him to remain exactly what he is. A simple man who fixes broken things because he cannot bear to see them stay broken. The galaxy needs people like that. Perhaps the galaxy needs people like that more than it needs empresses." Below, Marcus finished the last of the internal repairs. Now came the hardest part, the memory core. He had built a new one earlier, and now he needed to transfer all the old memories to it. Every single one. He looked at the sleeping girl, then at the android. This was the moment where most people would give up. The moment where logic said to stop. Marcus pulled his chair closer to the workbench and started the transfer. One memory at a time. He would save them all, no matter how long it took, and above him, unseen and unknown, an empress watched and wondered if her own people had ever been capable of such stubborn, beautiful love. Marcus Chen wiped the grease from his hands and looked around his small repair shop. The place was old and dirty. The walls had marks from years of work. Tools hung from hooks that were starting to rust. A single light buzzed above his head, sometimes flickering when the station's power had problems. His shop sat on the lower decks of Kepler Station, squeezed between a food stand that sold alien noodles and an old airlock that nobody used anymore. This was not the nice part of the station. Up above, the wealthy people lived in clean rooms with bright lights and fresh air. Down here, the air smelled like metal and oil. The people who came to Marcus were miners, workers, and travelers who did not have much money. Marcus did not mind. He had been fixing things his whole life. Broken machines, old robots, damaged equipment. If it was broken, he could make it work again. He was not the fastest or the cheapest, but he cared about his work. Every machine that left his shop worked better than when it came in. It was late in the station's night cycle when the door opened. Marcus looked up from the cargo loader he was repairing. He expected to see a miner or maybe a drunk traveler who got lost. Instead, he saw a little girl. She was not human. Her skin was a soft purple color, like lavender flowers Marcus had seen in pictures of Earth. Her eyes were silver and seemed to glow a little in the dim light. Small ridges ran along her temples and disappeared into her dark hair. She was Valorian. Marcus recognized the species from news programs about galactic politics. They were important people. Very important. They ruled hundreds of worlds and had more power than most species in the galaxy. They did not come to the lower decks. Ever. The girl was maybe 8 years old, if Marcus had to guess. She wore clothes that looked simple at first, but when she moved, the fabric caught the light in strange ways. It shimmered like it was made of something expensive. Very expensive, but Marcus barely noticed her clothes. He was looking at what she held in her arms. It was an android. A small one, designed to be a companion for children. The android was badly damaged. One arm hung loose, connected by only a single wire. Its chest plate was cracked. Its eyes were dark and showed no life at all. The girl held the android like it was a baby, like it was the most precious thing in the universe. "Can you fix Pip?" she asked. Her voice was small and scared. Marcus put down his tools and walked over to her. He moved slowly, not wanting to frighten her. He knelt down so his eyes were level with hers. "What happened to him?" Marcus asked gently. The girl's silver eyes filled with tears. "Some boys were mean to me. They said companion androids are just toys. They said only babies need them. They took Pip and threw him against the wall. They laughed when he broke." Marcus felt anger rise in his chest. He had never understood people who were cruel to children. Or to anyone, really. He pushed the anger down and kept his voice calm. "Can I see him?" The girl hesitated. Then, slowly, she held out the android. Marcus took it carefully, like it was made of glass. He turned it over in his hands, looking at the damaged dot. It was bad. Very bad. The arm was almost completely disconnected. The neural pathways inside were cut. The memory core was cracked, which meant the android's personality and memories could be corrupted or lost. Any normal repair shop would charge thousands of credits for this kind of work. They would probably tell the girl to just buy a new android instead. Marcus looked at the girl's face, at the tears running down her purple cheeks, at the way her hands were still reaching toward the android, like she could not bear to be apart from it. "I can fix him," Marcus said. The girl's face lit up with hope. "Really? You can?" "Yes, but it will take me all night. Maybe longer. Do you have somewhere you need to be? Someone waiting for you?" The girl shook her head. "Mother is away. On business. The guards do not know I left." Marcus should have asked more questions. He should have wondered why a Valorian child was walking alone in the lower decks. He should have noticed how she said, "guards," like it was normal to have guards. He should have thought about why her clothes were so expensive, and why she spoke with such perfect manners. But Marcus was not thinking about those things. He was thinking about the broken android and the crying girl, and the long night of work ahead. "All right," he said. "You can stay here while I work. Are you hungry?" The girl nodded. Marcus walked to the small food maker in the corner of his shop. It was old and could only make a few things. He pressed some buttons and it produced a cup of hot cocoa. Real cocoa was impossible to get on the lower decks, but the synthetic version was pretty good. He handed the cup to the girl. "What is your name?" "Kira," she said. "I am Marcus." "Nice to meet you, Kira." He pointed to a pile of clean work rags in the corner. They were soft and would make a decent bed. "You can sleep there if you get tired. I will wake you when Pip is fixed." Kira looked at the rags, then at Marcus, then at the android in his hands. She seemed to be deciding if she could trust him. Finally, she nodded. "Thank you, Marcus." She took her cocoa and went to sit on the rags. She did not lie down. She sat there, watching Marcus, her silver eyes following his every move. Marcus carried the android to his main workbench. He turned on the bright work lights and got his best tools. Then he looked at Pip and sighed. This was going to be a long night. He did not know that 3 levels above him, in a room that cost more money than his shop would ever make, someone was watching. Someone who controlled 900 worlds. Someone who was very, very interested in what this simple human mechanic would do next. Marcus picked up his smallest tool and began to work. The night had just begun. 3 levels above the repair shop, in a private room with walls made of dark glass, Empress Solara Valorous stood perfectly still. Her eyes did not move from the holographic screen floating in front of her. The screen showed her daughter sitting in a dirty repair shop, drinking something from a cup, watching a human work on a broken android. Solara was tall and beautiful in the way that mountains are. Beautiful, strong, ancient, dangerous. Her skin was the same lavender as her daughter's, but darker. Her silver eyes held the weight of centuries. She had ruled the Valorian Empire for over 200 years. She had made decisions that changed the fate of billions. She had watched enemies burn and allies rise. Nothing surprised her anymore, but tonight she was surprised. "Your Radiance," said a voice behind her. It was Korvax, her most trusted advisor. He was old, even by Valorian standards, and had served her family for 3 generations. "Please, let me send the Imperial Guard. The princess is in danger. That part of the station is filled with criminals and low people. Anything could happen to her." "No," Solara said. Her voice was quiet but firm. "But Your Radiance, she is the heir to the throne. If something happens to her, the succession will be thrown into chaos. Wars have started over less." "I said no, Korvax." Solara finally turned to look at him. "My daughter sneaked out of our quarters. She walked through 3 security checkpoints without being seen. She found her way to the lowest part of this station, alone, at night. Do you know why she did this?" Korvax shook his head. "Because those boys broke her android, and she knew that if she told me, I would have them punished. Their families would suffer. Perhaps their entire community would face consequences." Solara turned back to the screen. "My daughter did not want that. She wanted her friend fixed, not revenge. So she went looking for help on her own. She is just a child. She does not understand politics. No, she understands something more important. She understands kindness." Solara pointed at the screen. "Now watch. Watch what this human does." On the screen, Marcus was working on the android. He had cleared his workbench of everything else. His tools were laid out in neat rows. He was working slowly and carefully, examining every part of the damaged machine. "He is just a mechanic," Korvax said. "A poor one, by the look of his shop. Our royal engineers could fix that android in less than an hour." Yes, they could. Watch anyway. They watched in silence for a long time. Marcus worked with focus and patience. He did not rush. He did not take shortcuts. When he removed a damaged part, he studied it before setting it aside. When he found something that could be saved, he cleaned it gently and put it in a safe place. After 2 hours, Korvax began to understand what the Empress was seeing. "He's not just fixing it," Korvax said slowly. "He is rebuilding it. From the beginning, yes. But that is not necessary. A simple repair would restore function. Why is he doing so much more?" Solara smiled, but there was sadness in it. "That is the question, is it not? Why does he care so much about a machine that belongs to a stranger? A child he has never met? He does not know who she is. He does not know there is a reward waiting for him. He's just a tired human in a broken shop, and he is giving everything he has to fix a toy." On the screen, Marcus had opened a small cabinet and was pulling out materials. Good materials. Expensive materials. He was reinforcing the android's body with metal alloys that cost real money. "Those are from his personal supplies," Solara said. "He has been saving them for months. I had my people check his records. He was planning to use them to repair a water recycler for a family on Deck 7. They cannot pay him. He was going to do it for free." Korvax was quiet for a moment. "And now he is using those materials on the princess's android instead. Yes, without hesitation, without complaint, because a child was crying. Hours passed. Kira fell asleep on the pile of rags, her empty cup still in her hands. Marcus covered her with a clean cloth, then went back to work. He did not stop for food. He did not stop for rest. He just kept working, his hands moving with skill and care. At one point, the android's memory core began to fail. This was the most important part. The memory core held everything that made Pip who he was. All his experiences with Kira, all their games, their conversations, their secrets. If the core failed completely, Pip would still work, but he would not remember anything. He would be a stranger to the little girl who loved him. Marcus saw the problem. He had a choice. He could let the old memories go and simply install a fresh core. It would be faster, easier. The android would work fine. Kira would be sad, but she would understand. Instead, Marcus built a new memory core from scratch. Then he sat down with the old core and began to transfer the memories by hand. One by one. It took hours. His eyes grew tired. His hands began to shake. But he did not stop. In the observation room, Empress Solara watched the human work through the night. She had seen many things in her long life. She had seen great battles and terrible betrayals. She had seen love and hate and everything in between. But she had never seen anything quite like this. A single human, alone in the dark, fighting to save the memories of a machine because a little girl would miss them. "Your radiance," Korvax said quietly. "What do you see in this human?" Solara did not answer for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft. "I see why humanity is still alive," she said. "I see why all our predictions about them have been wrong. I see something my people forgot a very long time ago." "What is that?" "How to care about something that does not benefit you." Solara touched the screen gently, her fingers passing through the hologram of the working human. "We Valorians conquered the stars because we were strong. But we lost something along the way. We forgot how to be kind without reason, how to love without reward, how to give without expecting anything in return." She turned to face Korvax, and her eyes were bright with something that might have been tears. "This human is dying slowly. His shop is failing. His life is hard and will only get harder. And yet he sits there in the middle of the night, rebuilding a child's toy with more care than my best engineers would use on the Imperial flagship." She smiled. "That is not weakness, Korvax. That is the most terrifying kind of strength." Below them, Marcus finished transferring another memory and moved on to the next. He did not know he was being watched. He did not know his simple actions were changing how an empress saw his entire species. He just kept working, because there was work to be done. The morning cycle came slowly to the lower decks. The main lights grew brighter. The sounds of the station waking up began to fill the air. Doors opened and closed. People walked past Marcus's shop, their footsteps echoing on the metal floors. Inside the shop, Marcus was putting the final pieces back together. His hands shook a little from tiredness. His vision blurred sometimes, and he had to blink hard to clear it. He had been working for almost 12 hours without rest, but he was almost done. The android lay on the workbench, looking better than it had since Marcus first saw it. The cracked chestplate had been replaced with a new one. Marcus had painted it carefully, matching the exact colors of the original. The loose arm was now firmly attached, stronger than before. Inside, every damaged system had been repaired or replaced, and the memories were safe. Every single one. It had taken Marcus 4 hours to transfer them all, but he had done it. Every game Kira had played with Pip, every story they had shared, every whispered secret in the dark of night. All of it was saved. Marcus picked up his smallest tool and made the last connection. Then he stepped back and looked at his work. "Okay, little guy," he whispered. "Time to wake up." He pressed the activation button. For a moment, nothing happened. Marcus held his breath. What if he had missed something? What if the damage was too great? What if he had worked all night for nothing? Then the android's eyes flickered. Once, twice, and then they glowed with steady blue light. "System restart complete," Pip said in a small, friendly voice. "Running diagnostic check. All systems operational. Memory core intact. Identity matrix stable." The android's head turned slowly, taking in its surroundings. "This is not a familiar location." Query: "Where am I?" Marcus smiled. "You are in my repair shop." "How do you feel?" "I feel—" Pip paused, and Marcus could almost see the android thinking. "I feel functional. More than functional. My processing speed is faster than recorded baseline. My memory access is improved by a significant percentage. My sensory input is clearer." Another pause. "I had a dream. I dreamed I was broken. I dreamed I was falling into darkness, and I could not stop. But then someone caught me. Someone put me back together, piece by piece." "That was not a dream," Marcus said. "You were very badly damaged. But you are better now." The android's eyes focused on Marcus with new intensity. "You repaired me. You did not simply fix what was broken. You improved me. You made me more than I was before." Before Marcus could answer, there was a sound from the corner of the shop. Kira had woken up. She was sitting on the pile of rags, rubbing her eyes, confused about where she was. Then she saw the android on the workbench. "Pip?" Her voice was small and hopeful and terrified all at the same time. "Hello, Kira," Pip said. The little girl ran across the shop so fast she almost tripped. She grabbed the android and held him tight against her chest. Tears were running down her purple cheeks, but this time they were happy tears. "Pip, you are okay. You are really okay." "I am more than okay," Pip said, returning the hug with his newly repaired arms. "I remember everything. I remember when we first met. I remember when you named me. I remember all our games and all our adventures. I even remember when those meme boys took me and threw me against the wall. I was so scared," Kira sobbed. "I thought I lost you forever. You did not lose me. The kind man saved me." Pip looked at Marcus over Kira's shoulder. "Thank you. I do not have the proper words to express what this means. You gave me back my life. You gave me back my memories. You gave me back to Kira." Marcus felt his throat get tight. He was not going to cry. He was a grown man who fixed machines for a living. He was not going to cry because a little girl was hugging her android friend. He cried a little anyway. "It was nothing," he said, wiping his eyes quickly. "You had good parts inside. Just needed some work." Kira finally let go of Pip and turned to look at Marcus. Her silver eyes were still wet with tears, but she was smiling the biggest smile he had ever seen. "You fixed him. You really fixed him. I told you I would. But he is better than before. He says he can think faster now. He says his memory is better." Marcus shrugged. "When you fix something, you should fix it right. No point doing half a job." Kira walked up to him. She was so small. The top of her head barely reached his waist. But she looked up at him with those silver eyes, and Marcus felt like he was standing in front of someone very important. "How much do I owe you?" she asked. Marcus thought about the question. He thought about all the materials he had used. Good materials, expensive materials, materials he had been saving for months. He thought about the 12 hours of work. He thought about the mining contract he had missed, the money he would not earn, the rent he would struggle to pay. He thought about all of that. And then he looked at Kira's face, at the joy and relief and gratitude shining in her eyes. at the way she held Pip like he was the most precious thing in the universe. "Tell you what," Marcus said. "You come back sometime and tell me a story. Tell me about where you come from, about your home and your family and the things you have seen. That will be payment enough." Kira's smile got even bigger. "Really? That is all you want?" "That is all I want." The little girl threw her arms around his legs and hugged him tight. It was an awkward hug because she was so small and he was so tall, but Marcus did not mind. He patted her head gently and smiled. "Thank you, Mr. Chun," Kira said. "Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will come back. I promise. I will tell you the best stories. Stories about the stars and the old wars and the ancient empires. Stories about everything. I would like that very much." Kira stepped back, still smiling. She picked up Pip and held him close. For a moment, they both looked at Marcus. The little girl with silver eyes and the android with the glowing blue ones. "We will not forget this," Pip said. "What you did tonight, Mr. Chun, the kindness you showed, the care you gave. We will remember it forever." Marcus nodded. He did not trust himself to speak. His eyes were getting wet again. Kira turned and walked toward the door. She stopped at the entrance and looked back one last time. "Goodbye, Mr. Chun. Until we meet again." "Goodbye, Kira. Take care of Pip." "I will. I always will." And then she was gone, disappearing into the morning crowd of the lower decks. Just another child walking through the station. No one noticed her. No one knew who she was. Marcus stood alone in his shop. The silence felt strange after the long night of work. He looked at his empty workbench, then at the pile of rags where Kira had slept, then at the cold cup of coffee he had forgotten hours ago. He should feel tired. He should feel worried about money and missed contracts and uncertain futures. Instead, he felt something warm in his chest. Something good. He picked up his tools and started to clean them. There would be other broken things to fix. There always were. And Marcus Chen would be here, ready to fix them. He did not know that his life was about to change. He did not know that the little girl was the princess of an empire. He did not know that her mother, the most powerful woman in 900 worlds, had watched everything he did. He did not know any of that yet, but he would learn. Very soon. Marcus was organizing his tools when the door opened again. He looked up, expecting a customer. Maybe a miner with a broken drill. Maybe someone from the upper decks who got lost and needed directions. What he saw made him freeze. 4 figures entered his shop. They moved like water, smooth and silent, and perfectly coordinated. They wore armor that seemed to eat the light around them. It was dark and shiny and covered them completely. Marcus could not see their faces through their helmets. He could not see anything except the weapons at their sides. Imperial Guard. He had never seen them in person, but everyone knew what they looked like. They protected the royal family of the Valorian Empire. They were the deadliest soldiers in the galaxy. They were standing in his shop. Marcus's first thought was that he was going to die. He did not know why, but there was no other explanation. You did not see the Imperial Guard unless someone very important wanted you dead. Then another figure entered, and Marcus understood that death would be too simple. She was tall, taller than him. Her skin was the same lavender as Kira's, but darker, richer. Her silver eyes held depths that Marcus could not understand. She wore robes that moved like liquid shadow, and her hair was arranged in a style that probably took servants hours to create. Power came offering waves. Not physical power, though that was there too. Something deeper. Something that made Marcus want to kneel, even though he had never knelt to anyone in his life. Empress Solara Virus, ruler of 900 worlds, commander of the largest fleet in the galaxy, one of the most powerful beings in existence. She was standing in his shop, looking at his broken tools and dirty walls and rusty ceiling. "Mother!" A familiar voice called out. Kira ran past the guards and threw her arms around the Empress. She was still holding Pip. Her face was bright with joy. "Mother, look!" The kind man fixed Pip. "He worked all night. He did not even charge me." Solara looked down at her daughter with an expression Marcus could not read. Then she looked at the android in Kira's arms. Then she looked at Marcus. He tried to speak. Nothing came out. "You are Marcus Chun," Solara said. It was not a question. "Yes," Marcus managed. His voice sounded weak and strange. "Your Radiance. Your Majesty. Your—" He did not know the right words. "I am sorry. I did not know who she was. I would never have kept her all night if I had known. I meant no disrespect. I am aware." The Empress began to walk through his shop. She moved slowly, looking at everything. The tools on the walls. The unfinished projects on the shelves. The handwritten notes taped everywhere. "You have no formal training in engineering. No official certification from any guild. According to your military records, you served as a maintenance technician on the frigate Starbound. That ship was destroyed at the Battle of Keshan Reach. You were one of the few survivors." Marcus nodded. He did not trust himself to speak. "After the war, you wandered. Station to station, ship to ship. Never staying long. Always moving. Fixing things wherever you went." Solara picked up a small object from his workbench. It was a music box, old and broken. Marcus had been repairing it for a family on Deck 7. They could not pay him, but their daughter loved music, and the box had belonged to her grandmother. "You do not charge proper prices," Solara continued. "You accept trade when people cannot pay. You use your own materials for customers who have nothing. Your profit margins are almost nothing." She set down the music box. "You are not a good businessman, Marcus Chun." "No, your Radiance." "I am not." The Empress turned to face him. Her silver eyes seemed to look right through him, seeing everything he was and everything he had ever been. "You are dying," she said. Slowly. "Your shop is failing. Your savings are gone. You have no family, no connections, no future that I can see. Every day you fall a little further behind, and soon you will have nothing left." The words hurt because they were true. And yet, Solara gestured at Pip, still in Kira's arms. "You took a broken android and spent 12 hours making it whole. You used materials you had been saving for months. You transferred memories by hand because you knew a child would miss them. You did all of this for no reward, with no expectation of payment, for someone you had never met." She stepped closer to him, close enough that he could see the small lines around her eyes, the tiny imperfections that proved she was real and not some statue or painting. "The Valorian Empire has 10,000 royal engineers. They are the finest in the galaxy. Any one of them could have fixed that android in 1 hour. They would have done it faster and more efficiently than you." Solara paused. "But not one of them would have done what you did. Not one of them would have understood that this machine was not a machine to my daughter. It was her friend, her companion, her confidant in a life filled with strangers." Marcus did not know what to say. He just stood there, hands at his sides, heart beating fast. "Humanity has confused us for 300 years, Solara said. "Your species makes no sense. You are not strong or fast or particularly intelligent. You have no great empire, no ancient technology, no special abilities. By every measure that matters, you should have been conquered or destroyed long ago." She smiled, and it changed her entire face. "But you keep surviving, and now I understand why." She reached into her robes and pulled out a small crystal. It was beautiful, glowing with inner light that shifted between colors, Marcus had no names for. She placed it on his workbench. "A personal favor from the Valorian throne," she said. "It has no limit and no expiration. Use it however you wish. Build a better shop. Travel the stars. Find a new life. Whatever you want, this will make it possible." Marcus looked at the crystal. He knew it was worth more than everything he had ever owned. More than everything he would ever own. It was a fortune. A new beginning. "I did not do it for a reward," he said quietly. "I know." Silara's smile grew warmer. "That is exactly the point." Kira ran to Marcus and hugged his legs again. "Thank you, Mr. Jun. Thank you for everything. I will come back and visit you. I will tell you all the stories I promised." Marcus put his hand on her head. "I would like that very much, Kira." The Empress nodded to her guards, and they began to move toward the door. Kira took her mother's hand and walked with them. At the entrance, Solara stopped and looked back. "The galaxy is very large, Marcus-chan, and much of it is broken. It needs people who know how to fix things. People who cannot walk past something damaged without stopping to help." Her eyes met his. "Remember that when you decide what to do next." Then she was gone. The guards followed. The door closed behind them. Marcus stood alone in his shop. The crystal glowed on his workbench, lighting the room with colors he had never seen before. He thought about the upper decks, the fancy shops, the easy life he could buy. Then he looked around at his broken tools and half-finished projects, at the music box waiting to be fixed, at the cargo loader he had abandoned last night when Kira walked in. He picked up the crystal and put it in a drawer. Then he picked up his tools and got back to work. There were broken things waiting to be fixed. There always were, and Marcus-chan would be here, ready to fix them. 12 cycles later, when humanity was offered full membership in the Galactic Concord, the Valorian Empire was the first to vote in favor. The official reason was economic partnership and cultural exchange. But those who knew, Empress Solara well said she had a different reason. Something about a mechanic on a forgotten station who taught her what it really meant to be strong. And on Kepler Station. In a repair shop that had grown but never moved from the lower decks, Marcus-chan trained his first apprentice. She was a young Valorian girl with silver eyes and a rebuilt android who never left her side. Some broken things, when you fix them right, become stronger than they ever were before. Marcus had always known that about machines. Now, he was learning it was true about people too.